My stepdaughter tried to sabotage my honeymoon and even tried to delete my unborn baby, then she ran away from home and confessed to trying to end my pregnancy, saying that I was trying to replace her mom. I, 28F, have been married to my husband Eric, 32M, for about 6 months now. We dated for 3 years before getting married. Eric has a daughter, Renee, 16F, from his previous marriage. His ex-wife passed away when Renee was 8, so it's been just the two of them for a long time. When Eric and I first started dating, I tried really hard to connect with Renee. I knew it might be difficult for her to accept someone new in her dad's life, so I wanted to make sure she felt comfortable. But from the beginning, Renee was cold towards me. She'd give me dirty looks, make snide comments, and generally try to make me feel unwelcome. I talked to Eric about it a few times early on. He told me Renee had behaved similarly with his previous girlfriends, and that he'd tried talking to her about it but nothing seemed to change. He said she was still dealing with losing her mom and asked me to be patient. So for the next 3 years, I did my best to ignore Renee's behavior and just focus on my relationship with Eric. It wasn't easy, but I really cared about Eric and wanted things to work. I kept hoping Renee would eventually come around. When Eric proposed, I was thrilled. But I was also nervous about how Renee would react. To my surprise, she seemed okay with it at the wedding. She wasn't exactly warm towards me, but she wasn't openly hostile either. I started to think maybe things were finally changing. A month after the wedding, Eric and I were planning our honeymoon to Greece. We'd be gone for 2 weeks. A few days before we were set to leave, Renee asked if she could come along. She said she was really interested in Greek history and culture. Eric and I discussed it and decided to let her come. I thought it could be a good bonding opportunity. We'd do some activities all together, but Eric and I would also have plenty of alone time. The first few days of the trip went okay. We did some sightseeing as a group. Renee still wasn't super friendly towards me, but she wasn't being openly rude either. I started to relax a bit. On the 4th day, Eric and I had planned a romantic dinner date. Renee said she was going to stay at the hotel and order room service. When we got back from dinner, we found Renee in our hotel room. She claimed she'd gotten locked out of her own room and the front desk couldn't help her. I was annoyed, but tried to be understanding. We let her sleep on the pull-out couch in our room. The next morning, I woke up feeling really sick. I was nauseous and had terrible stomach cramps. Eric wanted to take me to a doctor, but I insisted I just needed to rest. I spent most of the day in bed while Eric and Renee went sightseeing. That evening, I was feeling a bit better and decided to join them for dinner. We went to a nice restaurant near our hotel. Halfway through the meal, I started feeling sick again. I excused myself to go to the bathroom. As I was walking back to the table, I overheard Renee talking to Eric. She was saying how much fun she was having with just the two of them, and how she wished it could always be like this. I felt hurt and angry, but I didn't say anything. I just went back to the table and tried to act normal. The next day, I was still feeling under the weather. Eric suggested he and Renee go on a day trip they'd planned while I rested. I agreed, thinking the alone time might help me feel better. While they were gone, I decided to do some laundry. As I was gathering clothes, I noticed an empty bottle of laxatives in Renee's suitcase. Suddenly, everything clicked. My illness, Renee's comments at dinner, it all made sense. I confronted Renee when she and Eric got back. At first, she denied everything. But when I said I found the laxative bottle, she broke down and admitted what she'd done. She said she just wanted some time alone with her dad like it used to be. Eric was furious. He immediately booked Renee a flight home and told her she was grounded indefinitely. He apologized to me profusely and offered to cut our trip short, but I said we should try to enjoy the rest of our honeymoon. The last week of the trip was tense. Eric was angry and upset about what Renee had done. I was hurt and struggling to process everything. We tried to make the best of it, but it wasn't the romantic honeymoon we planned. When we got home, Eric sat Renee down for a long talk. He told her that her behavior was completely unacceptable and there would be serious consequences. He took away her phone and computer and said she was grounded for the foreseeable future. It's been a few weeks now, and things are still really tense at home. Renee barely speaks to either of us. Eric is trying to figure out how to move forward. I'm struggling with how to feel about Renee now. Part of me understands she's a teenager dealing with a lot of emotions, but another part of me is furious at what she did. I don't know how to move past this. I want to have a good relationship with my stepdaughter, but I don't know if that's possible now. Eric and I are both stressed, and it's putting a strain on our new marriage. I could really use some advice on how to handle this situation.